welcome to another new episode of Somewhat Damaged. Joining John and I this week is a guy whose name tells the entire story. Comedy Dynamics just released his brand new stand-up special, Waiting for Death to Claim Us. It's Sam Tallent.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Sam.
What's going on?
Not much. Hello, John. We've not met before, have we?
No. John B. What's going on, buddy?
John,
well?
lovely to meet you.
You as
I'm
well,
well. Greg, you fucking dirty dog. Look at us, huh?
How are
Dancing in the ashes of your former glory.
you? Dancing in the ashes, true.
Yes.
True. How you been, man?
I'm good. I'm very well. I'm in Rochester, Minnesota, and I'm glad the internet's working. If the internet shits out, blame the infrastructure of this city who prides itself on its water tower above anything else.
What are you doing in Rochester? You have a show? I'm in Minnesota. Shows?
I'm up here visiting my secret family.
Oh,
right?
nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. My secret family lives in Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, well, that's a lot easier to get to.
Yeah, it is easier. They moved from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
Oh, well, yeah. Do you want to trade?
You know what's funny?
secret
I
families?
think Greg's actually not kidding. I think he probably does have a fucking secret family.
Everybody thinks so. Everybody, literally everybody.
I didn't until right now.
Yeah, well, we could trade. I don't mind. I haven't been to Minnesota in a minute, so maybe it's worth
Okay.
a trip.
Well, yeah. I mean, my secret wife is she runs the Mayo Clinic, so it is a bit of a trade up for you.
Wow, that is a trade up because
Yeah.
mine is a blackjack dealer.
Oh, wow. I'm glad there was a second part of the word.
Yeah,
Because I was very nervous you had
that would've-
taken
that
a
would've been-
strange turn.
That awkward so early in the morning. But how are you, man? Like, how you been the last few months? Like, we haven't caught up in a while.
I'm good, man. I'm incredibly busy now. Tim Dillon asked me to go open for him. I'm opening his theater tour. So
Dope.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck that means. Cause my act is a bunch of slap and tickle. I'm the poor man's Harlan Williams.
You know what's funny? I thought Harlan Williams was actually the poor man's Harlan Williams. But
Yeah, I'm the store brand Harlan Williams. So you can't really you can't go on stage and make fun of some guy's yellow hat in a theater. So I'm trying to figure out what my 20-minute theater act will be, which is it's more difficult than I thought it would be.
That's
wait,
gotta be fun, though.
are you going to be doing New York? Aren't you doing, like, if you're on the theater tour, are you doing New York Comedy Festival? Are you
Yeah,
up
I'm doing the Beacon
Beacon.
Theater with him. Yeah.
Oh shit! We always send a nice little gift baskets. So any
Oh,
requests?
fantastic.
Yeah, and you know it's gonna be fucked up because Tim and I have this relationship that we don't like each other, so I'm just gonna send it to you.
Okay, that's lovely.
And I'm gonna
John,
put there. I'm gonna be like,
I'm-
just for Sam. That's it.
Yeah, please. And then he won't ever see it because I'm sure he'll have a different green room than me. So
Let me tell you, have you been in the Beacon like back green rooms in the
Me?
theater? Yeah.
no,
Oh,
of
man,
course
dude.
not.
It-
What are you talking about, Greg?
Listen, I don't
The
know.
most I saw of it was from that Louis special. That was it.
No, man. The Beacon, it's very not what you might think it is. It's very small. It's like everything is on top of each other. Or like you'll be probably. I mean, he has a room. You'll have a room, but it's not. It's not like Radio City Music Hall where you have these elaborate, beautiful dressing rooms. You have these little rooms that have been there, in this theater for 150 years. It's at least it was when I was there last time, which was probably not for like the last 15 years, but I was a little taken aback by how no frills the dressing rooms at the Beacon
Oh,
are.
good. So at least it'll feel intimate when I bomb horribly.
I
That's
don't
good
know.
news.
I think that's a great show and great.
When you're done, just walk up to 78th and Broadway. We'll put you on stage and have a nice intimate crowd for you. All right.
Okay, yeah, I'll just be reeling and soaking wet, just wide-eyed, like I just identified my abuser. That'll be.
Someone's gonna go up to John. Hey, John, there is a soaking wet hobo at the
Yeah.
front waiting to talk to you. Like
Yeah.
he says he's a comedian.
John, there's a 6'4", 300-pound dripping wet lunatic here to see you. He says thanks for the gift basket.
Tell him just to like send me a tape and I'll put him on a bringer show or something.
Yeah. Does he have 5 other hobos with him? Then we can get him on stage.
Talk about bumping mics.
Christ.
Well, that's gonna be a good time, man. That should be awesome. Like,
I'm
really
excited
fun,
for you.
man. Thank you. I'm very excited and grateful as well. But yeah, I've been headlining on the road for like 10 years, and then this month on Tuesday I'm opening for Stanhope in Philly, and then I opened for Kinane for 5 days, and then I opened for Tim Dillon. So my career is taking a fucking massive step backward, man. Just from headliner to feature.
It's all that time you're spending in Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh, I gotta follow the money, man. I go where the action is.
May I suggest Idaho next?
Oh man, well, me and Tim are doing Garden City, Idaho, which makes no sense.
Where is Garden? Is it like
I don't
even
know,
by Boise?
dude. I don't know. Some of these tour dates, I'm like, what? You don't, Tim? What are we doing here? Sacramento? Come on, buddy.
Sacramento, then Idaho should be back to back.
I think they are, brother. I think that's it.
And you didn't even get Boise. You got Garden City, Idaho, which may or may not be a place.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy to be on the team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Happy to be invited. So listen, man, I watched the special. Right?
Yeah.
They sent me. I mean, very, very cool. I was John didn't get a chance to check it out yet, but I watched it and obviously, know you and your act and stuff, but that is a uniquely put together like special.
Thanks,
right?
man.
How did you come up with that idea? Because watching it, like I didn't know what to expect starting. I figured it'd be a special, watch you do an hour and whatever.
Yeah.
But from the places you filmed this, John was like, well, where were they? And I was like, well, it basically encompassed some pinball hall,
Yep.
a dirty frat house basement, and a coffee shop, and
That's
then
right.
everything in between. Right.
Yeah.
Like just envision that. And he was like, that's interesting. So how did you come up with like the places to do those shows and the whole concept behind it?
I don't know, man. Like, I think a lot of specials look kind of boring. Like,
Right.
the comedy could be very good, but like
Sure.
aesthetically and physically, they look boring on camera and like when you watch them. So I want to do something more like kinetic, a bit more chaotic. So I was just like, I'll just film some of my favorite, I don't want to say bad venues, but non-traditional venues that I've been lucky enough to work. And I got this kid who I've known since 3rd grade to be the cinematographer. He shoots skate videos. And then my buddy Zach, who I've known since kindergarten, directed it. And luckily, Big Top Studios just was like, yeah, spend whatever money you want. They give us like, $100,000, just fucking blank check pretty much to do whatever we wanted. And we got to make our baby.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just wanted it to look, I wanted to show in a special, you never see anyone in the crowd not laughing.
Right.
You always see like they cut to the crowd and it's always like, and like people touching shoulders. And there's, I thought it was important to show exactly what a comedy show looked like. So there's 2 or 3 spots in this special where like the camera is focused on a woman who would rather not be there, you know? At one point, there's a woman who's so upset with my act that she starts playing with her feet and smelling them. It's just like, she literally is like grabbing her bare feet and then putting her hands to her nose, which I feel kind of bad for including, but she really she made it difficult.
You deserve it. Fuck that.
I don't know, dude. I just wanted to do something kind of cool. And, I say arty, and I'm sure others would say pretentious, but I like how it came out.
It does, like you mentioned skate videos. It really reminds me of some skate videos, like, and how like back in the 80s, they would put together these skate vids and they were like raw and just totally cool. The same kind of feel, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was
Thanks, man.
really cool.
What an awful answer I just gave you.
No, it would be cool if Sam was like, yeah, I was kind of going for the whole bum fights kind of feel from like CKY and like that whole vibe.
I mean, I was going for a Jackass type thing, man. I mean, you're very right, actually.
So, I mean, listen, Sam, I haven't seen the special, but I've been following you for a little bit, and the idea of you kind of, highlighting and showing the real side of our industry, and like how they're not bumping shoulders every time, and that there are people that are just like, why did I spend this money? And there are people that are just dazed out and just don't want to what is like, what do you hope to gain from that? Is there a little bit of like is there a little bit of you that wants like you to kind of expose this, not expose, but expose our industry as, it's not all fun and games?
I mean, I wish I could say I was as high-minded as that. But I mean, I was just trying to make something that kind of looked cool.
Right.
Because I really do think that stand-up is mostly fun and games. Like, it's a really fun job to have, to travel around and goof with people. But the shows are, I mean, like Louis C.K. at the Beacon, what a great special, but like that's not the shows I do, and I'm also a working comedian.
Right.
So if I can show what it looks like on a Thursday in Gillette, Wyoming, I think that's as interesting, if not more interesting, than showing Amy Schumer at the fucking Garden. It's just like everyone thinks that only comedy specials, or people who do comedy specials, are only performing in these giant like theaters and shit. I mean, even I could have done it at like Acme or Comedy Works in Denver, and even that would have seemed like, I don't know, safe, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't trying to like hold a light up to the seedy underbelly of comedy. I was just more like, well, let's show people like what happens in Savannah.
Right.
What's it look like in Pensacola?
How are you breaking those down? Like, do you have a cinematographer that you're working with, or you're like, okay, I want to really highlight a bit specifically from this, or are you running the same set every single night and being like, okay, now that you're fully done with it, now we kind of break everything down? Was it kind of timed out that way, or were you like, I specifically want this joke in this room?
No, that's a good question. I did 3 of the same jokes every night because I knew those were going to be kind of like the pillars this was built on. They were like my 3 closers I was alternating through. And I was like, well, why just burn one closer when I can burn all 3? Why not? I keep anything that's usable. But so I had all 3 of those in every city, all 14 cities. But then, I mean, I improvise and I do crowd work and shit so much that when we went through it, we had hundreds of hours of footage between like on stage and off stage, 3 different cameras. So we sat in a room for 4 months and just edited every day for 8 hours during quarantine. That was what I did for like April, May, June, July of last year. And then, we give it to the production company after we've like gone through and made this meticulous thing that we're like so proud of. And it was 2 hours long. And we're like, hey, can we sell this as 4 30-minute episodes? And he was like, probably. Then we get to Comedy Dynamics and they're like, we want to put out an hour special. So we had to fucking hack that thing in half. That was like our baby. So the director's cut is a lot more like what I wanted it to be. I'm glad that they bought it and they put it out and people are watching it and laughing it, but there is like this 2-hour cut that I'm like really fucking proud of,
What are you going to do with that 2-hour cut? Are you going to put it out, or is it out?
I don't know, dude. I think we get it back after 90 days. Like we leased it to Comedy Dynamics. I also don't know how stoked they would be on me talking about this, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
I think we get it
Let's
back
post
after
this 90 days afterwards.
yeah. When you can't, we're not promoting for them anymore. No, they've been nice to me, and I'm like really grateful. But like I think we get it back after 90 days, and then we can either hopefully try and sell it to like, HBO or like Netflix or one of those big boys after we kind of have proof of concept of how it did. But then if we don't, like I would just love to fucking put it on YouTube eventually,
Yeah,
because I think I'm in the right part of the algorithm where people would watch it the same way they've watched like Norman's and Liss and Shane Gillis's.
Totally. Yeah,
like I'm
I
like
think
adjacent to Shane and those guys, Stanhope, enough that I think I can like worm my way into that situation.
Yeah, I personally I think YouTube is kind of the way to go, especially if you're not going to get like a really good payday on it, opposed to like just putting it out on one of those other services to do it. It's like, screw that, like keep 100% of it yourself,
right,
and let it live, right, and then it breathes and takes on its own. I mean, Norman did a tremendous job,
I've always wanted to just put it online, but I understand the production company wanted to make their money back. Like that's totally fine and valid, and I'm not mad at anyone.
No, definitely. I mean,
but I've always done everything myself. Like I've never had an agent or a manager. I've like ever done everything always myself. So to have to deal with like any middleman, I'm just like silently furious, even when they are being generous and kind.
Yeah,
I'm just like Brian, seething, losing control.
Brian at Comedy Dynamics is I know him pretty good. He's a really nice dude. Obviously, he's put together a hell of a group at Comedy Dynamics, and he's obviously very smart. Been in the business forever.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a great place to be. I highly respect them.
Yeah.
So but to the special, and it's out, so I don't want to burn anything, but I really want to know what is up with Boxman.
Oh, Boxman, I don't know. You smoke enough weed in a hotel room in Cincinnati, you start doing, fucking silly nonsense. You put a box on your head, you dance around. All of a sudden, the box has a family who he drowned in a river. Boxman ended up having like a real dark backstory, which is in the 2-hour cut. Boxman seems happy-go-lucky in the version that you've seen, but
right.
He has a troubled, problematic past.
Well, that's a good tease, man. That's a good tease in itself to watch the 2-hour thing, because the way
John, you haven't seen it, but imagine a man who's also a box. And I think you got it right there.
Hold on, I'm calling agent now.
Yeah.
Someone trademark
Hollywood, I got something for you.
No, it's great, and like I hope
you're calling Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah. We have 3 nights over at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, on the phone with the Hard Rock right now. But I hope that people, when they watch it, they catch the end, the very end. Like, clip out after the credits start rolling, and all that shit. They watch they get to see the last part, because what I'm watching it, and I'm like just so engulfed in this box man, right? I'm like, you see bits and pieces throughout the thing, and you're like, well, this is going somewhere. And then the best part to me is when you're doing that bit, and then you take a sip of the beer, there's no mouth in the box, and it just runs down the box onto your shirt.
That was the peak of my comedy career.
God, I was like, this is genius. Absolutely genius.
Thanks, man. So, that's very kind. That was the director, like in Kansas City, that show in the pinball bar. Right. That show was supposed to be at this place called Barrel the Bottoms, which was a perfect comedy room, and it was canceled that morning because of COVID. So like instead of doing the right thing and not doing a show in the face of this worldwide pandemic, we scrambled and found that pinball bar in rural Kansas. And it's like it wasn't the best show of the tour, let me put it that way. So the director was like, tonight's the night for Boxman on stage, kid. And I was like, what? And he like had the box, and he's like, you're doing it at the end of your set. And I was like, all right, who cares?
Wait, you traveled around with the box? You didn't just grab a different box and every
yeah, no, we had
some integrity behind this. Come on, Greg.
Yeah. You know how artists create?
But I just see your director like fucking like a pitching coach being like,
yes,
bring him in, bring him right in.
100%, dude. He took me outside right before my feature was on stage, and he was like, tonight's the night for Boxman. And he had the box. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it, dude. I liked Boxman too, but the director was like, in the 2 hours cut, there's like a 3-part arc with Boxman. Like the through line of Boxman ended up being what he really focused on, while I was like, can we not get so much Boxman and get a better cut of my closer, please?
I don't know, dude. I think that's your next book, like The Adventures of Boxman or something.
Oh man,
like a comic or something.
Let's actually, if we could pivot actually to the book, and I know you probably did a lot on press on this one, but
sure.
It's called Running the Light.
Yeah.
And what now, Greg, I have it downloaded. I'm ready. I'm going to Los Angeles hopefully at the end of the month, and I was gonna, wanted something to read specifically. I was out there. Can you tell me a little bit about why, instead of doing something that was more about
commercially viable?
Yeah, how about that? You said it. Okay. As he sips from his red.
John, well done.
LaCroix. It's store brand. Well, you didn't. What was the whole question, though, John?
No, but why write something fictional when your life itself has so many? As a comedian, you've got so many different stories. Why not just have the book an autobiography?
I don't think that anyone wants to read an autobiography of at the time 30-year-old. Like that's very self-indulgent to be like, hi, I'm 30, because I wrote that book 4 or 5 years ago, so I might have even been 29 when I was starting. Like, hi, I have a lot of life experience and my opinions are valuable. I feel like that sucks. Reading a reading a memoir of anyone who's under the age of 75 always pisses me off. I mean, because I read a lot of like fiction and shit, and certain memoirs, and certain autobiographies, or certain biographies, I should say. And I just love novels, dude. I love the form of the novel. I love literature. I love the process of crafting a novel, and it was a lot easier for me to write about like this amalgam, this like golem of men and women I've met on the road is easier to write about than me having a tough time at like Wits End in Westminster, Colorado. Like this guy had a lot more of a life. He had children, he had a wife, he had a career. Like I think he's a lot more interesting than anything I've ever done, for sure.
Do people ask you if it's based on you?
All the time, man. They think I'm a fucking massive blow bag. They think I'm some coke monkey. I show up to places now and the kids will be like, I love the book. I got a gram in my car. And it's like, I don't want to do your cocaine here in rural Montana. I don't want to do your cocaine anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I've only done cocaine probably like 30 times in my entire life. And now people think I'm some kind of like devious powder monster.
I would like to do your cocaine, please. If you're going to a Sam Town.
I'll give them to you.
Thanks.
I'll give you the tasters.
He'll be at the Beacon in a couple weeks.
And outside with a stein.
Yeah, see, now people are pimping me out for blow.
Hey, you wrote the book.
Listen. I did, yeah. But yeah, man, people do always want to be like, so, how is it to be this guy? And it's like, I'm not that guy. I'm just, I'm happily married, have a nice family.
And the trajectory from that book kind of really took off. I mean, one of the clips that I remember is obviously Doug Stanhope giving the book to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It hit a nerve because when I talk about you, and I was talking to some comedians yesterday that I'm happy that we were having you on the podcast today. They were like, "Oh, his book is fucking amazing!" Like it struck a nerve.
Thanks, man.
Within a lot of people in our industry. Was that the hope specifically? Were you writing this book for comedians and those in the industry, or you were just writing a book to say, "Hey, fuck it, I like novels"?
I think I hope that the book would be championed by comics. Like my whole goal was always, I hope comedians think this is like true to life, and the fact that comics worldwide now have embraced it and told me it's good and passed it on to other comedians, like that's the biggest pat on the back, and I have so much gratitude. Just comedians in general, but I did hope that I made the prose pretty enough and put enough ethos in the book that like non-comedy fans would also like it. Like I hope it is just a bleak, pretty novel about a broken man, as well it is, a book about comedy. So I never I thought that I would sell the book to comics, but luckily like it got beyond comedians, it got to fans of comedy, and then somehow it trickled down to fans of like literature. So
right.
I'm so fucking grateful to the people like that book.
So let's go backwards a little bit now. And I'm sorry, Greg, to kind of take this, but
good.
Essentially,
me and Greg already did this interview like 6 months ago. So
but then but between that, you get a show like Crashing that came out. You know what I mean? Which was a little bit more kind of, I mean, the HBO style was a little bit more glitz and glamour that somebody could stay on Artie Lang's couch.
Yeah, and it was a cartoon, dude, for sure.
And it was okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, how do you feel about other kind of taking peeks in our world that, like Crashing or the show about the Comedy Store or any of those shows? How do you feel about those things kind of being put in the zeitgeist of pop culture?
I remember watching Crashing and of course liking it, because anything about comedy, I think comedians will give a pass to, because it's fun to see yourself reflected in a mirror, even if it is Pete Holmes. And like, I remember watching Crashing and like really being into it, telling my dad there's this cool new show. And then I think at the beginning of season 2, he opens up for TJ Miller and Artie Lang in like Syracuse.
Yeah.
And he's hosting and he does 5 to 10 minutes. And at the end of the night, he gets given a check for $500. And I was like, well, that never has happened once in the history of stand-up. No one has done 5 or 10 in a B room in Syracuse and been given $500. And that's when I kind of fell off of Crashing. I really like when things are true to life. I don't like when things are hyperbolic. I don't like when things have happy endings that are tacked onto them. I don't think that life doesn't have a happy ending. You die no matter what happens. So a lot of representations of stand-up in media, I think, are given this. They're written by people who, want to be made heroic by their actions, written by former comedians, and they want to be patted on the back and look like, oh yeah, I was at the Comedy Store in '77. I was in the shit with the people, man. And it's like, yeah, but what were you guys doing? Like cocaine and watching Richard Pryor? Like, what's so heroic about that? So I'm glad that my book, there's no nice tidy bow put on top of it,
Totally.
you know? And I think that that's something I'm proud of.
Did you know that Stanhope was going to give it to Rogan or recommend?
No, dude, I didn't know Stanhope was going to do anything. He's a fucking ferret in the dishwasher. You know, he does. Stanhope has his own agenda. He doesn't do anything for anybody unless he really likes it.
Right.
But yeah, I was so grateful that he did. But yeah, dude, I can't predict.
Find out he did it.
When people were, I was flooded with screenshots and shit from people because I don't really watch Rogan.
Right.
And people were just like, "Oh my god, he gave him the book," and that was like a fun 10 minutes.
And what did you see? Like, did that immediately like blow up the sales and like your socials and stuff? Like, did you see something immediately happen once that came out and aired?
Yeah, I see weird spikes throughout. Like I'll see it specifically like on the Amazon page. Like I'll sell a bunch of books on my website, and I'm like, well, that's a nice thing. And then every now and then you'll see on Amazon, you sold like 35 books today in UK, and you're like, well, what the fuck is it? And then you find out some big podcast host in Ireland talked about your book, you know? So it's like, when Rogan happened, it was huge. Matt and Shane's been huge. Like Mark Maron was big, Bert Kreischer. There's individual spikes for like a week or two after every one of these big podcasts where you see like book sales, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, so I think we're going to probably have the opposite effect. People are going to start returning shit after they realize.
I'll return the books somewhat damaged.
You like a
Uh-oh.
That was good. I set that up on purpose. I was hoping.
So listen, I mean, you're out on the road now. You've been headlining, and now you're doing theater tours. How's it like? You just spent like the last 18 kind of months, maybe even longer, you know, kind of stuck at home with the family. How do they feel that you're fucking gone again?
You know, I was okay with being quarantined. I thought it was going to really make me lose my mind, and I was going to shatter my brain, but no, I was totally okay with being home and sleeping in the same bed with my wife. My wife's into it, man. My wife's in fucking residency, and she's a doctor. So my wife she like last weekend, she worked 50 hours in 2 days or in 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's like, what I'm saying is she's been lying. She's having an affair. I can't figure out who it is, but she won't stay home.
Is she been in Vegas by chance?
Right, quit
That's a
fucking
callback.
Yeah, I know.
God. Sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, it's like I'm widowed by her being a doctor. So she got with me when I was a road dog. We've been together for 10 years. She knows what this is. She knows where her butters comes on her bread. How does that go? She knows where her bread's buttered. So I think she's okay with it, man. I mean, like I'm gone until fucking Christmas with this Tim Dillon thing, so that's a little daunting, but also she likes nice things. She likes that fucking brand new Bronco she drives around, doesn't she, John? maybe she should shut her fucking mouth. All right.
How do you like that Bronco, by the way? Like, do you like
I hate it. It's a weight around my neck.
Yeah, it's $400 a month.
Yeah. What do you mean? Do I like it? No, she's happy with it. And anything I can do to make her happy is good. But yeah, I don't know why we needed a brand new fucking
on that doctor
Bronco.
money.
I don't know. She's a resident, dude. It's like $65K a year.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is nothing to sneeze at, but also it's like, come on, let me get my fingies wet, baby.
Well, I'm sure she's got a lot more than $65,000 a year to pay off in medical school bills.
Yeah, Greg, you're right.
Jesus, man, why are you doing this to him? He's like, fuck, I need another show tonight.
No, I'm trying to buy a Bronco cheap.
God, man.
Yeah, no, you're very right, Greg. we are.
Yeah, we're burying in debt.
Yeah.
Well, pretty soon the government's gonna like give it all back to you. So I think
at least we're wealthy in love.
Yes.
You know,
living out in the high air climates. You guys got it all made.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm very much in love with my wife, and if I wasn't, I would have left a long time ago. It's like I have money now. You know, like all of a sudden I'm desirable. Like I mean, come on, baby. I wouldn't have stuck this out unless I really fucking love you. You know?
People are like, honestly, like, it's Boxman. The girls are just flocking to Boxman.
Oh yeah, and that's how he got his name. He's a box man.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
He's
Boxman is a panty dropper. I mean, it sounds like it off the top.
Yeah, he's also a diaper soaker. He wears a diaper. The whole box physiology is bizarre.
You're listening to another episode of the Somewhat Damaged Podcast, part of the Storic Media Podcast Network, and brought to you by Corona Premier, now available on draft.
So I mean, like, so you're gone all the way till December. Like, how do you stay sane on the road? I mean, you've been doing it for years. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of reading, a bunch of writing, but do you like? I was talking to Harrison Greenbaum. I was like, what the fuck do you do sometimes? And he goes to like escape rooms specifically, and like different. I know. I was like, that sounds. And he'll do by himself. Is there anything that you kind of go after? Like, you fucking like look at something, like you're like, oh, I'm gonna be in wherever, and you're like, this is what I want to do. Is there? Do you look for anything?
Yeah, I like being out during football season because I go to a college football game every Saturday. I'm going to see Nebraska play the University of Minnesota on Saturday. I saw Harvard play Holy Cross last weekend. So that's a fun thing I like to do. And then when it's not the fall or winter, I love going to botanical gardens, dude. I love going to big, beautiful parks and cities. I love going to botanical gardens, walking around, bringing a book, packing a lunch. Like, I try and live a very romantic life for a guy who looks like, the South Side rapist. So like, America's a big, beautiful place, dude. And I've never, I like going on long walks. I can read all day in a park.
Really?
Yeah, very simple. I mean, I love it. I love doing stand-up. I love the road. I haven't, grown tired of it. I still am very grateful for it. I think looking at stand-up with an attitude of gratitude is really important because I've seen how pretty, fucking Richmond, Virginia is. I know exactly where to eat in Pensacola, Florida. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that I've done just because I've been somewhere for so long.
I gotta tell you, this sounds like the world's greatest Tinder profile.
Well, I have been working on one just so my wife will shut up.
Like, you really got it down. You should put that on Cameo and sell it as like. Yeah.
The grateful thing is something that I like to harken into because I sometimes feel that newer comics right now aren't grateful of what they are given. I think that there's this false romanticism of what our industry is, and I see it specifically in New York. You're living out in Colorado, and how's the scene of amateurs there currently right now? I mean,
I've always been super proud to be a Denver comedian, and we have a long lineage.
Comedy Works is one of the best clubs in my opinion, right now is the best club in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I won't refute that. I agree completely. But I mean, I can't say how good the very young people are. Like, I can't talk to the freshmen. I think the sophomores, the juniors, they're doing good. But like, when I'm home, I'm not hitting mics anymore.
Sure.
Like, I'm very glad to be home, cooking dinner, honking my wife's tit. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I honestly think Denver's a little oversaturated. And I do know that there's a certain air of like, I'm going to sound 1,000 years old, but these kids who started doing stand-up and they have 2 to 3 open mics a night weren't around in 2005 or 6 when there was 3 open mics all week. So they just have it so easy, and they know that they're part of this pedigree of Denver comedians that they're really kind of, patting themselves on the back more than they are working on jokes.
Right.
So when people ask should I move to Denver, it's like, I think it's oversaturated. I think Chicago is still probably the best place to move before New York or LA to get good at stand-up. But I know I'm proud to be a Denver comic.
What do you think about all the people that, like, from the LA area, like, defected to Austin and Nashville?
I don't understand. It would seem like a Pied Piper effect, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Nate Bargatze being in Nashville makes sense because he's got like a family, he likes to play golf. Theo Vaughn being there makes sense, but I know so many comics who moved to Austin thinking they were moving to the next Mecca, and it's like, it seemed like really short-sighted, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, William Montgomery is a good friend of mine, and we were hanging out last weekend, and he has the Kill Tony effect where now he has, a bit of a draw himself, and he's in Austin, and he's like, I don't really know why I moved here. I thought this was what everyone was doing, and now I just live in Austin and I have a lease and I don't know what to do.
Right. So where is he gonna? Is he gonna look to get out? Like, because I
don't know. I can't speak directly to his
sure.
planning, but
I thought once I saw all that stuff happening, like during the pandemic and all these people were splitting, that it was gonna, and I still think it's gonna be relatively short-lived, right?
Yeah.
How I don't think those cities are set up, maybe Nashville more than Austin, to truly support what they're like what these people all went there, to be, have the, to be the bigger name comedians. They're not, like you said, sophomores or even juniors. These are graduated,
yeah,
like top tier guys, and it just seems like weird places to go and think you're going to have the longevity you'd have coming from Los Angeles. And
well, you probably don't have the success you want in LA, so you're like, well, I'm gonna fucking follow the follower to Austin. Like comics are constantly just trying to follow someone else's example, even though everyone's experience in comedy is completely unique and different. Like
right.
There's no playbook for how to be a good comedian or like be successful. And I just know a lot of people are like always like, fucking like chickens with their head cut off, just looking around for like what the solution is.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because I know, I know a whole bunch of, sophomores, let's say, or some that like summer between freshman year and sophomore year that have all, gone to Austin thinking that's going to be their opportunity.
Yeah.
And I don't really comment on it, but I think that's absolutely like a fantasy.
Sure, I agree with that.
They have Sam, what's the move for you? What do you, do you have any aspirations to move to Los Angeles? I mean, maybe
not in the least.
With the literary, not in the least. You want to stay where you are and just do things remotely, and as they call you, you go there.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to be able to like go do a commercial audition at the drop of a hat,
right.
But I also like can go swim in the river every day. Like, I don't know, dude, like the quality of life for me and like because when I started stand up, I was so completely devoted to being a comedian for the first 5 to 10 years of my career that I wasn't really living a nice life, and I just like, I think that we don't really have a lot of time. All that fucking hippie Buddhist bullshit that I always would shit on as a kid. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we have to live in a nice place. And if I have enough money one day, and if my wife's career can bring her to a place where maybe we can live in New York, I would be honored to live in the great city of New York. I've always wanted to live in New York City, but my wife's a doctor. I want to support her in her pursuits. And if that means we have to live in Chicago or, New Orleans or something like that, like I'm totally fine with that. I'm not trying to eschew or be falsely humble or be like, no, that life's not for me. It's just like, I really don't desire to be on. I mean, I don't know. I've never really wanted to live in LA.
The genuine being so genuine like that is very refreshing to hear. I mean, we do a lot of these, podcasts, and I hear a lot of people, but it's very rare that you get to kind of come across a comedian like you that, has that kind of knows what they want. You know what I mean? It's Thanks, very man. Humbling, and it's awesome to hear. And I hope that our listeners that are up and coming comics, know that there is supposed to be a standard of lifestyle that you should be having. Do you know what I mean?
And some humility. And humility.
Yeah. And also, this thing isn't going to fill the holes in you. Like, no matter how successful you get at stand-up, the more I know very famous, successful comedians. They're not necessarily happy because of their comedy prowess, Like, don't make stand-up the answer to your problems, because you're only going to get more and more hurt that way. This is a very hard thing to do. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly hard job to have. And it's like, if you're trying to get more out of it than just being good at your job, you're really setting yourself up for a nightmare.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, or you could always put a box on your head and just hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe Boxman takes off. The next thing you know, I'm living right there on Melrose Place,
hanging out with
driving not one but two Broncos at the same time.
Got the 15 money.
Yeah. I mean, what are we hoping for? We're gonna get on a sitcom? I mean,
that used to be the goal.
That's dead.
Right?
That's not a hope anymore. No one watches TV.
And I agree with you, but that seems to be like, I don't know why. And it's funny because we always make fun of the American dream of the white picket fence and, the 2.5 kids, for that suburban area. But like, it's funny that when comedians are like, yeah, the hope is to be on a sitcom, I was like, to fucking who?
Yeah.
Like, why is that still the fucking dream for a lot of like these freshmen? It's like, dude, it's not going to happen. Oh, I want my Tallent. Well, guess what? One of my good friends, Tom Thakar,
Yeah.
Was on Jimmy Fallon last night.
Yeah.
Love that guy to death.
Me too.
And you know what? I fucking forgot. I
Yeah.
watched it this morning on my phone. I
Right.
felt so bad.
Yeah. And it's like, what's Tom get out of that? Like $1,500 and 40 Instagram followers? Like, what's the point? Tom's incredibly funny. And Tom I love Tom, and he's gonna be fine, but it's not gonna be the big breaks don't come from TV anymore. You
Right.
know, the big breaks come from being on someone's podcast or being on someone's YouTube, or we're we're kind of fucked traditionally, which is okay, because once there's no meaning, you get to assign meaning to things, and that's like the beauty of nihilistic philosophy. So we're kind of like, we're making our own meaning and figuring it out, and that's exciting.
I think it's kind of like the golden time for I mean, almost anybody in entertainment, because there are so many different places you can go to get exposure that you couldn't get 10 years ago, right? You get on a popular podcast, you know, or the mecca of Joe Rogan holding up your book, you know. That is so much more impactful and more eyeballs than being on the night show.
Well, let's
but
go ahead.
In the 70s and 80s, if you were on the Tonight Show, 50 million people saw you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, what was the big one for a while? Conan? Like, Conan was helpful for people. That was a good thing to have on your flyer.
Absolutely.
That's it. But I mean, that's it for like, since I've been in stand-up, all a TV credit has really meant was you had another thing to put on the flyer.
Yeah.
That's like literally all it was. Like, oh, Comedy Central.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's the New York thing too. You get these barkers down in Times Square who are just like, hey, Comedy Central.
Right.
You say these names that like flyover states kind of know, and it's like, oh, okay. And a simple Google search would be like, okay, they were on Fallon. So that's where it makes sense. But I agree with you. But Tom got $1,500 because he owes me some money.
I mean, I don't know how much those pay, but I just did a Comedy Central Presents, and I was like, what? This is the amount of money? How did Pablo Francisco live off this?
No, I'll tell you, the one, you know, we had.
How did he support his terrible coke habit? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
am I allowed to say that?
True story alert.
We had Rich Voss on a show a few months ago, and I was what, you know, I love Rich, and
Me too.
What credits you want me to put on the flyer? And, you know, he gave me podcast, this, that, the other thing, and then he was like, put The King of Staten Island, you know, the movie.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson. And I'm
actually, like, he said, you put the King of Staten Island on the side of the fucking house.
I said, Rich, I just watched King of Staten Island. The only thing you did was order lasagna, eggplant parm. Like, that's credit worthy now?
Yeah.
Like, you ordered eggplant parm. I was like, can I put that down? Rich Voss ordered eggplant parm on King of Staten Island.
It's like all those comics who have last comic standing credit because they were in the shot of the very long line on the first episode, you know? There's so many frauds and fucking hucksters in this game, dude.
I still bust his balls when I talked to him. I'm like, oh, your credit for the King of Staten Island, you had one line.
Yeah.
Fucking eggplant parm.
And Voss knows better, you know?
I know. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, come on. Like, there's 100 other things. Anyway, so speaking of food,
yeah,
right, we always end this thing on talking about food, but I want to segue from beer to food, because one of your jokes in the special, I might use it. I'm gonna poach it from you and just use it in friendly conversation.
Go crazy,
what the fuck?
I don't care, John.
That joke about Miller Lite.
Oh yeah,
so fucking good.
Thanks, man.
Like, oh my god, I'm gonna use it tonight when I talk to some friends and shit, and I'll obviously give you.
I can't wait. Greg gonna go back to Connecticut. He's gonna have his fucking khaki fucking shorts on. Fucking sitting around with some Mick Ultras, fucking around the dads and everything like that. He's gonna drop that fucking mic and peace out, baby.
Oh yeah.
Miller Lite, it is honestly the best analogy to Miller Lite, I think, that or anyone. I mean, it's just fucking perfect.
You're gonna be the king of Hamden tonight.
I don't know if Hamden has kings.
It's more of a fiefdom.
I want to know if it bombs, though. That's
what I want to know. Because if it does bomb, you know he's gonna be like, "Oh, that was in this guy's special." That's the only time you're gonna give credit, is if it eats shit.
I'm just gonna give you a conversation. Like, when I see someone drinking a Miller Lite. That's all.
Oh yeah, it's great when you like have a cool joke you heard and you really want to do it, so you're just trying to guide the conversation towards that talking point the whole time. It's like you guys will be talking about, oh yeah, my kid got into a nice school, and you'll be like, oh, school reminds me of ice cold Miller Lite.
Greg just walking into bars and like having with friends, like, you have Miller Lite? No?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Come on, guys, we're out of here.
Totally. I'm absolutely not going to any bar that doesn't serve Miller Lite.
What do you guys talk to about food though?
So God, this is your baby. So.
I mean, listen, one of the big things is that, we always talk about comedy. We talk to a lot of fucking comedians on this, and it's always about comedy or what you're plugging. But one of the things is like, Greg and I are pretty well traveled as well. You know what I mean? We're doing shows all over the country. But one thing that like Greg and I always have is food. And so what we love to do is hear from you guys specifically, and like, what was the best thing you ate in the country? And we're like, nah, that's too easy because people are going to pick New York and shit like that. So we decided to kind of narrow it down to like, what was the best thing you ate this week?
Okay, great. This fucking gets me going, man. I love this shit. This is a real fucking. This answer is not going to make anyone happy. I've been doing keto for like 4 months now. So
second comic in a while has been doing it. Yeah,
of course, I'm a hack, John. All right. I heard Greg Fitzsimmons was doing it, so I'm like, well, me too. I can't wear the flat cap. He gets mad. So this is what I'll do so anyway, I ordered these noodles, man, these miracle noodles, and they have 5 calories in a giant bag of them. They're like 97% water and 3% like root starch, and they have no carbohydrates, and it's totally fucking it. I took that gun out of my mouth and put it back in the drawer because now I can have noodles again. So I made some fucking great pasta this week, and I made my own pho broth. I made 12-hour pho broth with bones and brisket and all that shit. And
how'd you make the broth? Like, so you did the soup bones in there?
Got the bones in there, correct.
Traditional style. Do you throw in cilantro and stuff like that in there?
Cilantro to finish, but star anise.
I thought
cardamom.
I honestly thought that pho broth had the stems of cilantro in it when you're cooking it up.
It totally could. The recipe that I follow, which is Kenji Lopez Alt, does not have cilantro in there until the end to finish. But yeah, I did the Chinese 5-spice, all the core building blocks, and I let it cook for fucking 11 hours, man. And that was the best thing I had this week.
I love that. So wait, you're rolling 11 hours, slow simmer, like on there. Are you adding more water to it or anything like that, or no? Or you're just kind of like getting it down to its purest base form?
So you wash the bones first. You boil the bones, you parboil them for 10 minutes, and then all the impurities come off. You dump that water, and then you put the bones back in after you scrub them, because you want the clarity on the broth. Like that's
right, because like the scum comes up to the top sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're trying to avoid that scum, and then you bring it to a boil, and then you bring it down to like 1.5, 2. So you have like bubbles, but you don't have a rolling boil the entire time, because that's how you lose all that water.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to add any water this time. I've done this in the past and totally biffed it, and it sucked everyone's dick. But this time it was actually good. So
you strain it or anything like that just to get more clarity off of it, like through a cheesecloth? I've seen like recipes that have been asking for that.
I'm not so ardent on needing it to be clear, but I do scrape scum off the top every now and then,
I had a great, actually, when you're in New York, there's a great place called Two Bikes. It's on 81st in Amsterdam, only a couple blocks away from you. You actually come out your back door from Beacon, and you just walk up a couple blocks. It's called Two Bikes. Amazing. So I personally, last night I had banh mi from the place, and I didn't want to double carb it, so I didn't want the full pho. They have the pho broth that you can just get there as well, and it was just fantastic. So you know what, when you're in town, we got to go there. It's unbelievable.
John, I would gladly go there with you. Vietnamese food is I've eaten pho in more cities than probably anyone else alive.
Really?
Like I always eat pho on the road. I've eaten the worst pho of my life in Iowa City, Iowa. I've had the best pho of my life in Jackson, Mississippi. Like
really?
I get pho every time I'm on the road.
Okay, interesting about that, because I heard, and I used to live in Houston. Sorry, Greg, I'm getting away with this.
Houston's amazing, dude.
Right. So I heard Houston had the best pho in the world, because essentially when the fall of Hanoi,
Mhm.
everybody came in. They all kind of went to the shrimping areas.
Right,
that
because the
area
soil was
kind of
similar.
Right.
Yeah.
So your best was in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, it blew my mind how good it was, and I've had exceptional pho in New Orleans and in Mobile, Alabama has amazing pho. Houston, of course, is amazing. Anywhere down there on the Gulf Coast that has a large Vietnamese population has amazing food. But for some reason, this place in Jackson, Mississippi, blew my
Really?
fucking doors off, dude.
Do you remember the name of it?
I couldn't. I can tell you where it is. It's like next to the venue that I played there. It was around the corner. But yeah, like I'm about to get pho after this. I'm gonna go get some pho in Minneapolis.
Oh, dope.
Because I brought my own fucking noodles, dog.
Wait,
Oh,
I want to know about these noodles because I try to intermittently do low carb, and I'm in one of those phases now. So where'd you get these noodles? You just buy them online?
Yeah, you buy them online. They're called Miracle Noodles, dude.
Huh.
And yeah, they're made from some kind of weird root starch, and they have like zero nutritional value at all.
How's the
but
consistency? Like when you put them in,
like noodles, dude.
Really?
I mean, they're more of a fuck. You're not rice noodles. You know those like kind of shiny noodles?
Yeah.
Vermicelli?
Yeah, I think they're more of like they're an Asian shiny noodle. I can't
Glass
remember.
noodle.
Glass noodle. They're like a glass noodle situation.
Right.
But I mean, even coming close to a rice noodle when you haven't had noodles for 4 months was game changing, you know?
I can only imagine.
But yeah, I had some oysters in Humboldt County last weekend that were out of this world.
Sick.
It was salmon season, so I had some homemade smoked salmon the limo driver gave us. So I'm always eating, dude. Eating is my very favorite thing to do. I love it.
We got to do another one. Sam, we got to do another one just about food.
Oh, gladly, man.
I am like, that is my jam right there. You know, like, I mean, I woke up this morning and I was looking at avails, but like one of my things that I'm looking forward today is, mind you, we have all this, you know, we're interviewing all day. We've got a show tonight, but the new Chinese restaurant opened up across the street from the club.
Yes.
So Greg and I are going tonight.
Oh, yeah.
They've got a whole fish deep fried.
Dude.
Yeah.
Whole fish. I love whole fish.
Whole fish.
Yeah.
Like even going for the eyeballs. Like I'm not like, I don't like weird stuff like that, but like there's something about it, especially when the Chinese do it and they deep fry something. Fuck.
The cheek meat and the eyeballs. Dude, John, we're speaking the same fucking language, dude. Whole fish is my second favorite thing to eat. It's crazy. My wife won't let me order whole fish anymore because I get so disgusting when I pick it all the way apart.
Oh man. All right. When you're in town,
you eat the tail?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, right there, because all the fat flavor is over there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a place down. It's called Hopkey. It's a Chinese restaurant down on Mott Street. My parents have been going there for the last almost 40 years.
Okay.
Like their first date was there. Like it's been around for years. They have this fried flounder there, which is whole fish out of this world. You need to try it. It's unbelievable. This is how good it is. And I try just to kind of how people understand this. That was Anthony Bourdain's favorite dish in Chinatown.
Yes.
So it's like one of those spots, but we got a lot to do.
Greg, sorry we're cucking you right now.
Listen, I'm trying to half pay attention and half just dream about what I'm eating and like fuck.
Oh yeah. Oh, I cannot wait. I had the worst fucking omelet I've ever had yesterday in here in Rochester, and I've literally been thinking about getting pho since I went to bed last night. So.
Oh, nice. Well, you should be able to enjoy it.
John, get my number, dude. Let's meet up when I'm out there.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Totally down. Fuck Tim. He can stay at home. I'm kidding. Tim and I are fine. He just never wants to come to the club. I'm always at the stand. Oh, just to give me all these spots over there. Can't fucking take the one train up to fucking see us. Jesus Christ. Sorry.
Tim John's attitudes did not reflect my own. I'm just trying to be on the team, sir. Thank you. Where do you want me to bring your bags?
Oh, by the way, it's only stairs to the dressing rooms at the Beacon for the help. Just kidding.
Okay, that's fine.
When is that show?
That's November 11th, I believe.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I can double check. It's for the New York Comedy Festival, so I fucking wormed my way onto that somehow, which is good.
Are you going to be in New York City on the 10th?
No, dude, I'm coming in the 11th doing the show, and then the 12th and 13th is my my cousin's birthday, my first cousin's birthday. So I'm not doing Atlantic City or Rochester with him.
So you're shooting back to Colorado then?
Yeah, because I'm performing them. I'm like the fucking what's it called? The rehearsal dinner is the 12th, and I'm doing the actual marriage ceremony. I'm performing the
good
ceremony.
for you.
Yeah,
Nice.
so family's
Nice.
important, man. I'd love to go to Atlantic City and blow every penny I have on blackjack, but not this time, AC.
You're gonna have to hold back their trucks of money.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, listen.
Plans change, and you wind up in the city on the 10th. We're having a club that night. You should come by.
Where's
Greg,
the 11th? Where's the 10th? Are you coming in the morning of the 11th? You know, we'll do this all offline so people don't know your fucking schedule.
Thank you guys for having me, man. This was a lot of fun.
Of course, dude. Thank you so much. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Just at Sam Tallent on Instagram, Tallent, and then samtalent.com has the book and links to everything.
Get the book, watch the special.
Yeah.
Enjoy it all.
Watch that damn special. I'm proud of it.
Well, Greg, I will see you later tonight.
Yeah, I'll see you later tonight.
Kiss.
Thanks for hanging out again, brother. It was really cool, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Talk.
Oh yeah, brother.
Amen.